It didn't even receive a subpoena from the Justice Department on antitrust grounds. That was totally bogus. So how come I'm not telling you to back up the truck and load up on NVIDIA? Buy. I say, hold on a second. The stock's up 116% year to date, for heaven's sake. It's no longer trading like it's a play on just AI or even semiconductors themselves. No, NVIDIA's become a battleground of volatility, where bets are placed on its direction every darn day. It's become more of a gross domestic product play than it is a play on the company's cutting-edge technology. Those are tough places to be. Take this morning. I blanched when I saw a piece by Bank of America about NVIDIA entitled, quote, compelling growth at a compelling valuation, end quote. The gist? By the weakness caused by near-term headwinds like gross margin pressure, lateness of its chip platform known as Blackwell, and a perception that competition is rising while the markets soften. Let me give you a different view on this remarkable company, though. First, there's an overwhelming view on Wall Street that, unlike the other Magnificent Seven, NVIDIA simply doesn't belong with the rest. Why? Well, it's been too much too soon, with the company relying on just a handful of customers, and once they fill up on chips, those customers are done. They say it shouldn't be a trillionaire, let alone a $2.5 trillionaire. To be completely arbitrary, they kind of feel like let's say it should be a $200 billion company. $200 billion. On Tuesday, J.P. Morgan's Michael Semblis, someone I regard as the foremost strategist from Wall Street, issued a very skeptical piece about how NVIDIA's strength is like the boom and bust in fiber build-outs during the 90s, something that led to a collapse of epic proportions. Sell. After that last quarter, I think that view is actually gaining prominence. Nobody's saying the emperor has no clothes. It's more like they're saying the emperor doesn't have all the clothes we thought. But the contempt that Wall Street secretly harbors for NVIDIA is only matched by the pure panic that the public feels about this stock. I think most individual investors never really understood what this company does, aside from trouncing the earnings estimates and then therefore sending its stock into the stratosphere. That had been the norm, but it didn't happen when NVIDIA reported last week. Now, it doesn't matter to this cohort that NVIDIA had a supply problem. They can't make enough of their sold-out product, not a demand problem. This group of traders masquerading as investors simply don't understand how hard it is to make a chip like Blackwell, how many you need to throw away before it's perfect. When you set out to make a bunch of high-end chips, only a certain percentage of them are flawless enough to bring to market. It's called the yield, and it takes time to maximize the efficiency of the production process. That's lost on these people entirely. Basically, you've got a legion of traders who own NVIDIA simply because it was going up. And I don't want to pound the table on this stock until those particular summer soldiers and sunshine patriots, thank you, Thomas Paine, finish selling. I don't believe the bear thesis that the stock doesn't deserve to trade at such elevated levels. I don't believe it's hopelessly overvalued. I simply recognize that many of your fellow shareholders bought NVIDIA with no real conviction, and the stock likely won't find a bottom until they are all washed out. The stock currently at $107, and they might not throw in the towel until it trades down in the 90s, where it dipped to remember when the yen carry trade imploded at the beginning of August? That's where it went to. Now, we know that the legendary Larry Williams told us, this is on an off-the-chart segment, that NVIDIA could be weak until mid to late October. And that's based on the analysis of historical trading patterns. Oh, geez, that's a long time. But it might take that long to complete the shakeout. I'm just waiting for that. I know that those reasons are not at all substantive. They're not what you wanted to hear. Then again, NVIDIA is not trading on substance. The stock's become a plaything, a football. It's not acting like a piece of publicly traded company. I think it just can't settle until the weak hands clear out and the shareholder base returns to what it used to be. Hardcore semiconductor believers who think that AI is for real and NVIDIA's got a fabulous multi-year growth story. Yes, in that sense, the Bank of America piece is dead right. I just think they were way too early with the timing.
Today, we're diving deep into one of the hottest companies in tech right now, NVIDIA, and the recent bullish comments made by none other than Oracle's Larry Ellison. If you're wondering how NVIDIA fits into the future of AI, data centers, and cloud computing, stick around because we're breaking it all down. NVIDIA has been on an absolute tear this year, up over 120% as the leader in AI chips and GPU technology. But the future isn't just about the past success, it's about what comes next. Recently, Oracle's Larry Ellison shared some really compelling insights on the future of data centers and AI, and he had a lot to say about NVIDIA's role. He emphasized that Oracle's partnership with NVIDIA is transformative because NVIDIA's chips are the backbone of AI-driven data centers. Ellison highlighted how NVIDIA's GPUs are not just powering AI development but are becoming critical for the entire infrastructure of modern data centers. That's massive because it means NVIDIA isn't just selling to gaming or AI research labs, they're becoming essential to every major cloud provider, including Oracle. What makes this partnership particularly interesting is the sheer scale of demand. We're not talking about minor data upgrades. This is the future of how information is processed worldwide. NVIDIA's AI-driven architecture is helping companies scale data centers that are smarter, faster, and more energy efficient. And this isn't just about raw computing power. Ellison pointed out that NVIDIA's role in data centers goes beyond the hardware. It's about optimizing the infrastructure for AI applications, which are becoming integral to industries like healthcare, finance, and manufacturing. So, why should you be bullish on NVIDIA? Here's the big takeaway. With every major cloud player, whether it's Oracle, Google Cloud, Amazon AWS, or Microsoft Azure, scaling up their AI-driven data center operations, NVIDIA's cutting-edge GPUs are set to dominate this multi-billion-dollar industry. As AI continues to grow exponentially, so will the need for specialized infrastructure that can handle the massive amounts of data these systems require. NVIDIA is uniquely positioned to supply that infrastructure. With their GPUs at the core of AI models and cloud platforms, they're set to dominate a future where every major cloud provider depends on them. So, are we going to see NVIDIA's stock climb even higher? If Larry Ellison's comments and the ongoing AI revolution are anything to go by, the answer is absolutely. NVIDIA isn't just riding the AI wave, they're creating it. And that's a long-term bullish signal for investors. If you're as excited about NVIDIA's future as I am, drop a comment below and let me know if you're holding or buying more. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more market insight. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Remember, this is not financial advice. Always do your own research before making investment decisions. See you next time.
Welcome back to Squawk on the Street. 6 minutes before we get started with trading here at the New York Stock Exchange. Let's get a mad dash in. Talk a little NVIDIA. Jensen Huang, of course, the well-known CEO, founder of the company, going to be a guest at Goldman's Communicopia Conference. Right. I believe, Jim, on stage very early in the morning Pacific time with David Solomon, the CEO of Goldman Sachs.
And there's very specifically, I want to talk about the problem of NVIDIA. There's a lot of the networks kind of view that I heard yesterday was a slowdown. That's just not true. There is no slowdown. But what there is a complication. This new chip's very, very powerful, really hard to make, but there's a couple of releases today, really good release from Oracle and NVIDIA together, talking about, and this is the complication, AI supercomputer, the largest in the cloud, to deliver up to 131,072 NVIDIA GPUs to enable customers to build, train, and inference AI at scale. Now we're all over our heads. See, now we're all trying to figure out what do you do with that. Like, I immediately shot a memo, a series of questions to NVIDIA saying, well, what does that mean? And when you don't know what it means, and I've spent 12 years trying to understand NVIDIA, then what are the people going to do is like, we will own it because they just hear that it goes up. We are now in a moment where NVIDIA is too hard for most people to understand. And we need Jensen to explain it. And why, if that's late, what does that mean? So I say that we're at a moment of confusion in NVIDIA, not a moment of slowdown.
But didn't they give a bit of an explanation during the earnings when they discussed and gave a little detail around Blackwell and why it was going to get up to full production? Not too long.
Right, and that's important. Like, for instance, we found out that that sovereign users want it. But more importantly, I mean, you look